current financial system exclude these people. And that's why it's harder for them to accumulate wealth. But with Web3, it's financial inclusion. Your wallet is yours. Nobody can shut you down. Once you have that wallet, your Bitcoin is yours. It doesn't belong to anybody. Your stack, your wallet is yours. You can participate in the wealth accumulation.
Welcome to Airdrop, the show that'll help you understand what NFTs are, how they work, how to use them, and all that good stuff. I'm Raoyan, and I'm here with my man Phosphorus, and today we're talking DeFi with Dr. Chiente, the CEO of Alex.
Alex is building decentralized finance infrastructure on Bitcoin through stacks. This means, and there's a lot in here, that you can use Alex to bootstrap your liquidity for any new tokens that may be emerging. If you have a project that has tokens, you can use Alex to give your tokens value and be able to swap them to get Bitcoin or get stacks for your tokens. You can also use Alex to swap your tokens, kind of like a money exchange, like I just talked about. And you can use Alex to stake, pool, and farm. And there are lots of different ways where you can lock up your tokens. And by doing so, make more tokens from those tokens.
Don't worry, this will all make a lot more sense when Dr. Chiente talks about it. And I honestly, this conversation was so eye-opening for me because I don't understand finance at all. It's super intimidating for me. It was never something that, my family talked about growing up. Coming from an immigrant family, it's not really at the forefront for a lot of us. But Dr. Chiente explains it in such a cool way, and she has just such a great vision behind why she believes in DeFi and what she's trying to do with Alex. You're going to love it.
So today we're going to dive into the Alex 123s. We're going to talk about how Dr. Chiente entered the wonderful world of Web3, and we're going to talk exactly how staking, pooling, and farming all works.
And a whole lot more.
So if you like helping people for free, make sure you please rate and review this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to stay up to date with any new projects that maybe or might be happening, make sure you follow Airdrop on Twitter at Airdrop Show.
All right, let's drop in.
All right, today we have something very, very special. Usually we're talking about NFTs. Today we're going to talk about decentralized finance. I feel like the two are like the right hand and the left hand of crypto.
Yeah.
And so you kind of can't have one without the other in this weird kind of way. So today we're going to talk all things DeFi, and we thought the best person to have as our expert witness to explain what DeFi is Dr. Chiente Hu from Alex. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Chiente Hu. I am the CEO and co-founder of Alex. Alex is as you mentioned, is a decentralized finance, and it's a protocol that is built for Bitcoin smart contract.
Awesome. That's a lot going on. So, Dr. Chiente, if you could explain what DeFi is in the most simple language possible, I think we could all appreciate that.
I'll do my best.
Your best is good enough.
So, thank you. So think about, how crypto is decentralized, right? It's user-owned form of currency. So for example, Bitcoin, there's no CEO of Bitcoin. So instead, Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer network and community validators and holders. So similarly, DeFi is a decentralized and it is user-owned form of finance for crypto. So no middleman, no centralized exchange, no authority with the power to, for example, freeze your account, which is the case with TradFi and CeFi exchange. So when it comes to explain, Alex DeFi to newcomers, we like to use, the Alex 123 method, which is that, 3 steps that you need to understand. Is that okay? I do this Alex 123 with you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So number one is that to understand, Bitcoin is more than just money. It is the ultimate form of money. Why? The paper money in your wallet says that it is a property of the government. right? So it is not really yours. Your bank accounts can be frozen and locked at any time. So Bitcoin is truly yours and yours alone in secure, decentralized way, never before possible in history. Okay, so that's number one, is Bitcoin. Now comes to Stacks, right? Stacks turns Bitcoin into programmable money. This program is called smart contract. So instead of just sending and receiving Bitcoins, these programs allow us to build applications that can do almost anything, from mining, owning NFTs, which is your expertise, to coding play to earn gears, to building a new user-owned internet or Web3. So that's two. That's about the programmable money. Now, Alex 3 is that Alex DeFi is a collection of programs that allows a medium of change for the value of Bitcoin and other currencies. So that's all what finance is. Finance is how we determine value of certain asset and we exchange. So this is in the sense that this is exactly what Ale is, right? Ale is the financial system that built on Bitcoin and via Stack smart contract. So Ale is like no bank. A bank is where you can raise your fund, you can lend, you can borrow, and you even can sometimes, apply leverages to earn higher yield. So that's what Ale, number 1, 2, 3. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. This is all so interesting, which is why we're so excited to have this conversation with you, because we don't really know how it all works, but you very clearly do know how it all works, and you just explained it so well. And on our show, we talk about a big Einstein quote, which is, if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. And you just explained this so simply, which tells me that you really understand how it works, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. How did you get here? How did you get to understanding how all of this works? How did you get into the world of decentralized finance? What's the origin story? How did you get here?
So I was born in Taiwan. I grew up in Vienna, in Austria. And since a young age, I was always very interested in math, in computer science, statistics, etc. And that's where I also received my PhDs in econometrics. So it's a very quantitative form of economics. And then I became a tenure track professor in economics. Then I joined Wall Street. I joined Wall Street more than 2 decades ago. I started at Credit Suisse and then Morgan Stanley as head of quantitative strategies. What it is that you apply a set of rules. So it's rule-based investment strategies across all assets. And you try to harvest well-defined returns and deliver this to investors, including, your 401k, pension funds, and some corporate, etc., etc. And in between, I also wrote a book titled Rule-Based Investing. So what is rule-based is basically is algorithmic, right? There's no human intervention or emotional behind. And that's exactly what smart contract is. When I was explaining Alex 1, 2, 3, I talk about the second part is that we need to make Bitcoin programmable. And that's exactly what it is, algorithm. It's just that when I was at the Credit Suisse, I was building on a closed chain, but now Alex is on the public decentralized chain. So that's my life, I would say, in investment banking. And then I started getting interested in crypto, or I would say more precisely in the blockchain technology, open source blockchain technology, because after 2008 financial crisis, the inefficiency of the traditional financial system, it just grew tremendously. Over-regulation, bloated middle, back offices, institutional inertia, etc., etc. So it was really just a year ago when you say you came to that, beginning of the year. I am not much earlier than you. It was really a year ago. The idea of Alex was first conceived. I was on the phone with my co-founder, Rachel, and we were discussing blockchain technology, crypto, quant investing, etc., etc. And the growth of DeFi, although the technologically is very sophisticated, from financial engineering point of view, I would say DeFi is still in its infancy. And so we were talking about, what we could improve with our own background and with our own experience from the traditional finance. And the name Alex came from 3 o'clock in the morning. Often the best idea come in 3 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
You agree? Rachel's baby boy, his name is Alex. And then he was saying that, you wrote a book, you have a legacy. What would be my legacy? I said, okay, let's call this, DeFi protocol that we want to build. Let's call it Alex, automated liquidity exchange, right? This is what bank is. You exchange liquidity and it's still blockchain, so everything is automated. And then so we just imagine 2 women, one in Asia, one in the US. We started to imagine how, as an adult, what we call it DeFi, and later when Alex grows up, it will be just everyday finance for him. So it was then that we decided that, rather than being very passive spectators, we want to be the builders, and we want to build the DeFi and want to ensure that the DeFi will grow up to be, I would say a better solution than traditional finance where we have spent our careers. So again, our vision for the finance of the future will be one that is permissionless, that's decentralized, that's accessible to everybody. And so we create an automated liquidity exchange, or ALEC. So that's a very long story. I'm so sorry.
No, that was incredible.
I'm in awe.
There was so much in that answer.
Wow. Okay. I love what you're trying to do. One, just 2 powerful women putting this together, I think is amazing, and the space needs more of it. So I'm just super pumped that you guys did this and are moving in this direction. I think that's incredibly powerful. Also, just how I was around in 2008, right? I was like graduating high school. I saw like everything kind of collapse. And I was just thinking like in the 30s or in the 50s, there was more individuals had more responsibility or access to building wealth. And I feel like that's gone away for the normal person. And what Alex does, if you have Stacks or a crypto wallet and it has Bitcoin in it, you can now, being a regular person, access the same tools and methodologies that the bigwigs use to make lots of money. And I don't know. I love the decentralization, bring it back down to the individual and saying, these are all the tools that you can use to bring liquidity to your crypto. And I just think that is huge. Huge.
It's so beautiful summarized by you, right? So we all experienced the 2008. I think that's a wake up for many, many people. And we keep on talking technology, financial inclusion. If you look at the income distribution of the world or of this country, it's bimodal. What means that you have like 2 humps. One hump is, very, very rich people, and the distance between this hump to the second hump is getting further and further, right? And why? Because somehow, in order to participate in the technological growth, it becomes more and more expensive. In order to be financially included, it becomes more and more difficult. So that's why Web3 is really a wake-up call for us, just like what you beautifully summarized, right? You don't need Citibank or Bank of America to approve you to have an account. And there's so many immigrants, women from Southeast Asia, they go somewhere else. They work very hard. Their family depend on their paycheck every month to send home. And they can't get a credit card or they can't get a bank account, right? We exclude them. This current financial system excludes these people. And that's why it's harder for them to accumulate wealth. But with Web3, it's financial inclusion. Your wallet is yours. Nobody can shut you down. Once you have that wallet, your Bitcoin is yours. It doesn't belong to anybody. Your Stacks, your wallet is yours. You can participate in the wealth accumulation. And that's what we dream about, Rachel and I and our team every day dream about, is the financial inclusion, and is that, this bimodal income distribution, somehow the distance get closer and closer. And we can't contribute anything else because we are too, quant. But one thing we can contribute is build the best, most secure DeFi on Bitcoin for everybody. And I say that every day that gave me wake up, and every day I think about that when we use Alex. I have goosebumps. When you use Alex, we are Web3, right? There's no middleman behind. And that's what we would like to contribute.
Wow. That's really amazing to hear because, personally, and here's some personal information for our listeners about me, I come from an immigrant family. And having grown up in an immigrant community here in the United States, it is just hard for people in the situation that I grew up in to make ends meet most of the time, never mind accumulate wealth, And it always seemed like the system was rigged against us. But here you're an expert in economics and econometrics. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. That's a new word for me. And here you are talking about we are creating a system that is more fair and more just and is going to help people that don't have that privilege to be able to build wealth and build something for themselves. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm in awe. It's so good to hear from you, a person that's doing something so big in finance. Actually, we want to make the game fairer. We want to help the little guy. It's beautiful.
But it's not just our team, right? It's you. You participate in Alex. You give us feedback. You tell us, make this better. That doesn't work. So we are, Alex is a decentralized protocol. It belongs to the users. So every time you use it, you help us to become better because this, we all are Alex owner. Right? Alex belongs to everybody. So it's not just me or the team. It's you. It's the Alex community that build Alex together. If you come in January, I don't know if you remember, we ran a very, very long testnet. And it went crazy, right? Everybody would try to catch the bug for our Skillbrush UI UX improvement suggestions. We ran the testnet so long for the reason that we want Alex to be decentralized and make this everybody's thing. And here we are. I think people are quite happy with everybody, the community have achieved. It's a very smooth experience and not security-wise. We're all very careful. We like to say, especially Hadan, he's a community leader. We like to say the community is our best immune system. Sometimes you will see error messages and people will just put it on Discord and tell us, have a look, this looks weird. And so again, we are here to thank everybody to be part of Alex.
All right, let's start diving in here because I'm excited. I got chills when you're just speaking about the possibilities for the individual and the group and how it's decentralized and owned. We're all owners in this. So let's get talking about how Alex works. So Alex is a launch pad, right, for decentralized finance, DeFi on Bitcoin. And I'm going to ask the dumb question. What does a launch pad do?
Sure. It's so not dumb because that's really hard of Alex. So I always like to say, but don't laugh with me, okay? I like to say that with Alex, you don't need Goldman Sachs anymore. Alex is a better Goldman Sachs. Alex Goldman Sachs on Bitcoin blockchain, right? Think about what Goldman Sachs investment bankers do. They help, the company to IPO, right? Now, Alex Launchpad is basically where people can project an IPO, right? So in initial, decentralized offering. So Launchpad connect emerging project with community. And this community is interested in discovering and supporting those new projects. And they support them through an IPO or initial DEX offering. So I have mentioned that, how finance is about connecting those who need capital and who have capital. So for example, let's say there is a promising new project and they would come to Alex because in addition, providing, we help them, we advise them, we support them. Our Launchpad will connect them with our core community of long-term holders and stakers. We can talk a little bit later about the staking, right? This is because if a new project comes to participate in an IDO on Alex, so it's not enough just to have Alex, right? You also need to have a token called A Power, which is kind of a non-trading, non-transferable token. And you can receive this token A Powers through Alex staking or yield fund. So what it means is that if projects come on Alex to IDO, it's not just about raise fund. It's about connecting with a community that are very, very loyal to Stacks, to Alex. So it's really the best kind of community. So this new project connect with those community, and this community will support them in terms of financially as well as become part of their community. So two things. One is get funding. Second is build the community. Actually, the third thing is to achieve decentralization, because you want your tokens to be in the hands of many, many, many people, right? So these are the three objectives of the IDO launchpad on Alex. Again, raise fund, build community, decentralization. Does that make sense?
Raise funds, build community,
and decentralization.
And decentralization. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo!
Right. Make sure the tokens are in everybody's hands so no one can make it go under.
Right.
That's right. Or you don't have like big whale, they own like 90% of this company or this project.
Right.
Yeah. And I really like the token thing too. Just even as somebody who's new to NFTs, I'm like, oh, I can own this thing and it's making me these tokens. And now I feel financially incentivized to be more of a part of the community with this project, because if I'm more involved, then I can stake my NFT or whatever, which we're going to talk about, people, and I can get something out of that, and not just a picture, not just a membership. It's more than that. So that's really, really cool. That builds community.
That's right. That's very, very well said. You know, a token is really almost like an entry-exit ticket of a community. And often the tokens are designed, I would say more often than not, the tokens of a project are designed such that you will have the governance power, right? So you own the token and you are part of that project. You can vote, right? We want this NFT to have yield farming capability, or we want this token to have this kind of other utility, etc. You become the owner of this project. You can use the token to vote. So it's a very, very powerful vehicle, I want to say, about the token. Obviously, you know, crypto is a lot about speculation, because we're just in the very, very beginning of, you know, this journey of blockchain or crypto. You know, most of the time people talk about, you know, coins go up, coins go down. But at the end of the day, what the coin represents is you are the community, part of the community. You can use that for voting, for governance, and for many, many, many things.
Okay, so when I go to Alex, I'm on the website and it says I can do 3 major things. I can do pooling, staking, and farming. And so now we're going to talk about all 3 of those. So you want to start with pooling. What is pooling? What do I do when I'm putting my tokens into that?
Sure. So Alex, we have a DEX, or it's decentralized exchange. So it's a market. You call it decentralized because it's a decentralized protocol. And exchange basically is a market, right? We exchange tokens or other things, right? So on this DEX, people can swap their tokens. Remember though that if it's a DeFi, there's no middleman. So in order for the swap to be possible, right? So I swap my Stacks with your red Bitcoin, you swap your Alex with my USDA, for example. In DeFi, there's no middleman. So in order for this to be possible, then we need a pool of capital that holds both tokens. So for example, Alex and Stack. So we need a pool of capital to have both of these tokens that are being swapped in order to make this transaction possible. Now, let's say take the Stacks Alex pool as an example. If you submit a 50-50 amount of value, right, of both tokens to the pool, you are a liquidity provider. Okay. Now, when someone uses the swap to exchange Stacks to Alex or vice versa, they have to pay a small fee in order to do so. Now, you as a liquidity provider, you will receive half of that fee, and the other half fee goes to Alex protocol. So in that way, that the protocol incentivize people like you who have both Stacks and Alex to provide the liquidity to make this pool possible, to make this exchange possible. So that's pooling.
Okay, so for pooling, I am putting my money into the liquidity pool,
Correct.
right? So it's called pooling. And then that provides the capital for others to swap their tokens back and forth. Now, when people do that, they pay a little bit of money. That little bit of money then goes to me. Is that right? Did I explain that?
Yeah, exactly. Half of it goes to you,
Half of it goes to me.
Yeah.
And the other half goes
to the protocol.
to the protocol. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's just the best way I learn is just to repeat things again. Thank you for that. All right.
Yeah, so next would be staking, right? How does staking work and how does it fit into the whole deal?
Staking involves locking up crypto tokens through a smart contract for a fixed period amount of time. Okay, so staking benefits a project like Alex by increasing the total value locked, and people like to write it TVL, total value locked. Now, as locking up your tokens come at the risk of price changes, so staking needs to be incentivized. Now, when you stake your Alex token on our platform, you are rewarded with both Alex token as well as the A-Power token that I mentioned. So, for example, the current cycle has approximately 195% APR. But as the amount of stakers grows, the APR will decrease. So the best way I like to explain staking is almost like you tell the protocol, I'm going to give you this liquidity in terms of Alex, and you can lock it up for, let's say, 32 cycles. And then in that way, that I show my commitment to you, I'm not using the Alex token. And with that, a protocol can increase their liquidity, total value locked as well. So, but through that, you as a staker, you do take a risk because of the Alex token you put in, the price can vary when it come out. So you are being incentivized to receive Alex token and other stuff. So that's staking. You again provide the liquidity, but not as a pool provider, but as an Alex staker.
Okay. So this is also not financial advice. I am not a financial expert. Chiente is a financial expert. But so with staking, you get an APR.
Correct.
Right? What was the number you said earlier? You said it was at 200%?
Yeah, close to 200%. Yeah.
Yeah. Close to 200%. If I were to put my money, just for an example, if I put my money in a bank account, in a normal bank account, in my local credit union, and a savings account, I would get an APR of 0.06% on that yearly as my money would grow. With staking and Alex, I can get at this point, about a 200% increase on my money if I just lock it up and have it be staked, right? Am I interpreting that right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Holy cow, that's
Wow.
incredible. Compound interest, is that right? That's how I understand it?
Well, the APR is not compounded in the sense that, you remember that on Alex, every cycle you have to manually kind of harvest your interest and then you have to restake it. So let's say you get 10 extra Alex as an interest of the previous cycle, then you have to put this 10 again in the next cycle to make your interest work. Now, today we just announced a new feature called Auto Alex. Auto Alex is the one you mentioned that is with compound interest. So how Auto Alex works is that instead of you every cycle you will manually harvest and restake it, you just have to hold this Auto Alex and everything else is automatic. It will automatically reinvest the interest. So that's true compound interest. So that's the interest you get is called APY. And we are going to roll out, I think we'll launch around April 26th. With a specific block height we're going to announce. So that's a true passive income, right? You don't need to do manually anything. Because every time when you harvest and then restake, you do encounter, for example, transaction charges, etc., etc. So this is the Auto Alex that we're going to roll out is a true passive income. It's like an autopilot. You don't need to do anything. It just auto compounds.
I saw a tweet that you posted, and it's funny that Rally and you mentioned that Albert Einstein quote because she then quotes Einstein saying that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
Those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. And I just thought it was funny. Brought up Einstein again.
Yes, no, that guy was smart.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Okay, so we've talked about pooling, we've talked about staking. Next, we have farming. You want to break down what is farming for us?
Sure. So farming is called yield farming. It's essentially staking, but with liquidity pool or LP token instead of the project token, which is Alex. Okay, so when I mentioned becoming the liquidity provider earlier of, for example, 50-50 amount of a stacks Alex, right? So when you submit that 50-50 amount to the liquidity pool, you'll receive in return a LP token, LP's liquidity pool token that represent your contribution. Okay. Now, when the LP token are in your wallet, you can withdraw them anytime you want. And when you withdraw, you will receive a shares of the pool fee because you contributed in the pool. However, in order to encourage capital to remain on our platform, you can take those LP tokens and you can stake them, meaning that you lock them up for a specific number of cycles or periods of time. Now, in exchange to doing so, in addition to the pool fee, you also incentivize with Alex token and A-Power reward. Now, for example, the current cycle, the Stacks Alex pool has a 290% of APR, and the Stacks Red Bitcoin pool has around 95% of APR. And again, this will decrease over time as our platform grows. Now our platform is still young, so these APR are, relatively high. So take advantage of those opportunities when a protocol like this is young. And if you join early, you will receive the highest incentives, basically. So that's farming.
Wow. What I heard was get in now and reap the benefits of everyone who come in later.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for going over those because I was confused on what are we all doing when I go to Alex. So now when I go to the website, I will now know what to do.
Yeah. It makes a lot more sense now, like how it all works. So then when I go onto the website, right, the actual app, I'm going to be like, okay, now I can move and do this thing. So I wanted to ask just outright, what are, for somebody that's wanting to get started, right? This is selfish. I'm asking for myself because I had no idea how any of this stuff works, right? If I am trying to get started with Alex or just with DeFi in general, what are the first steps that I should take to start using Alex as a tool and to start getting into the world of DeFi and learning and doing all this amazing stuff that you're talking about?
Sure. I love what you just mentioned. I think the best way to learn about DeFi, and particularly, often people, they are a little bit skeptical about DeFi. The best way is just go and to do it, learning by doing. And once you kind of come to Alex protocol and you kind of experiment a little bit about swap, about staking, about farming, you suddenly things are really, really clear. So step one, I would say, really, if like my mom, right, never done any crypto before, my mom always said, Mom, just go to get some Bitcoin, right? Purchase some Bitcoin. That's really where it all began. And Bitcoin remains, I think, is the most valuable, secure, and immutable blockchain in existence. So I would say, Mom, get some Bitcoin. Number two, I would say, take those Bitcoin and swap into stacks or purchase some stacks, which is the blockchain that we are built on, allow the smart contract on Bitcoin. And the easiest way then, it will be open a Hero wallet. It's free, and you only take a few minutes to do so. And just Google Hero Wallet, and the first result would take you to the whole page where you can download the Hero Wallet app, and you can or install the extension. Once your wallet is created, there's an option on top menu. It will allow you to fund it by, purchasing stack. Okay, so that's number two. I would say get your Hero Wallet. Now, once you have the Hero Wallet, You have some stacks, you can come to Alex. Our address is app.alexlab.co, and on top of the menu, you will just connect your wallet and all the functionality will be open to you. We also have tutorial written up on our Medium page. If you don't like to read, it's fine. Just to, play around with our protocol. Our Medium page is medium.com/AlexGoBTC. There we have very simple articles about how to swap, how to provide liquidity, how to yield farm, etc., etc. I think most important is that we have fantastic community on the Discord. We all help each other, whoever is on it. As you know, crypto is 24/7, but there are always people on the Discord. If you have any question, just go to our Discord, which is discord.gg/AlexGo, and you post a question there, and the community members will come to answer your questions right away. It's much better than the helpline. You have to call out. Just post a question on Discord, and then people will come to help you. So as simple as that. Get your stacks, get your Hero wallet, come to Alex, connect your wallet, and start, swap, stake, and yield farm.
Do all the things. You're perfect for our show because Ryan usually asks the question like, how do you explain DeFi to your mom? And you just said, you're like, Mom, this is what I would do. Buy Bitcoin, swap it for stacks, open a Hero wallet, come to Alex, connect your wallet. And if you have questions, join the Discord. And I just love it. You just lined it all out. We didn't have to prep you or anything. You just did it. It's great.
Right. That was amazing. Usually we're like, all right, well, this was a great conversation. Where can people find you? You just spelled out exactly where people can find you. It was amazing.
And if you don't want to write any of those down, those will all be in the description below. You can just click the links, get started. And wow, thank you so much for jumping on the show.
I'm so happy.
Dr. Chiente, this is incredible. You're very intelligent, and I'm glad that you're just helping little people like us figure this out as we go.
Thank you. It was such fun to come on your show. And again, it's an honor to be here. And I will say that, you're an NFT expert. I'm not. Stack has a very thriving NFT ecosystem now. For example, our first IPO was a Bitcoin monkey. It was so successful. Even when he was telling me that all his screen was all these monkeys, all these bananas, they were close to 30 times oversubscribed their IPO. So do come to us. Very soon we'll also have other very interesting features that NFT related. I'm not going to tell you now because I want to keep it for the next podcast. I hope you will invite me back very soon. And thank you again.
Oh, we would love to have you back.
Wow, she just invited herself back on the show. Usually we
Let's
have to
go.
ask, but you were like, no, let's do it again.
No, I have your email, so now I know how to reach out to you.
Oh, nice. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to Airdrop. If you want to know more about Alex, we put a list in the description where you can go and start learning and start using and start gaining some yield.
Yeah, go make some money. And make sure to follow Airdrop on Twitter at Airdrop Show. And please rate and review this podcast so more people can find out about us and we can all learn about NFTs together.
And remember, some people can't believe in themselves until someone else believes in them first.